Hey guys, welcome everybody. This is another live stream, and this is quickly becoming the end of July. I try to do these live streams somewhere near the first week and a half ish of the month, but man, it's just been busy and lots to do around here, and so the kids are out of town. So I figured it'd be a good time to go ahead and just do a live stream while I have some other projects waiting in the wings. But I'm always dedicated to doing these monthly live streams for you guys. And to kick this off, if you want to support this channel and what I do here in the studio, and you want to get some really good rigs for the head rush, then I highly suggest going down to the links below in the description and checking out my website and finding a course called HTS Rigs. And what this is a monthly live stream where I build rigs right here in front of you, and I post those to that portion of the site under that course name, and you get to pay a one-time fee of $20. And that gives you all past rigs that I've ever made during these live streams, and also all future rigs that I will ever make in these live streams. And this could go another year, it could go another 10 years. I'm not really sure, but I know you're going to get a lot of value out of these streams and being able to rewatch them on the website and also on the YouTube channel. They are free on the YouTube channel, but if you want to download the rigs that I build, then you have to get those from the website. Otherwise, you just grab your head rush that you own, and you can easily follow along as I build these, and that's perfectly fine. But like I said, if you want to really help support me here on the channel, then just go to the website, buy the HTS Rigs course, and that would be greatly appreciated. So, with the title of, I'm trying to see where's my chat? Where is my chat? I might have to extend this out. Yes, I do. All right, there we go. I am going to have to extend this out a little bit. Let me bring this over here. I'm trying to fit everything on the screen. Which says, a guy from the US says, "Hey Doc, always a pleasure, man. Just sat down to build a rig and you go live." There we go. So go ahead and grab your head rush and let's start building. So the session I have open here on my screen is Mixbus 32C, and this is 8.1, which was released to the forum today, and will officially go out via email and news blast and Facebook and all the different sources probably by the end of this week. So if you're a Mixbus 32C user, then go ahead and check out the 8.1 update. It's been great. Lots and lots of work has been going into this DAW. Lots of great features, lots of great bug fixes. That keeps everything stable as you're running your session or just recording or having fun making music. So I do work for Harrison Consoles or Harrison Audio, whatever you want to call it, and I'm the product specialist for Mixbus, the recording software. So if you have any questions about recording and all that realm, you can email me at nathan@harrisonconsoles.com. or just message me on my website. There is a messaging portion there on the site. You can just message me directly, and then when I see it, I can respond back to you. We can have like a little private chat. So I am using my Reverend Gil Paris signature model. I'm going to start off with this guitar. I'm going to build some rigs based on like a Strat. Then I'll grab my Sensei from Reverend, which has railhammer pickups, which are humbuckers, and that will allow me to see, how much gain is changed just by changing your guitar and your pickups, because that can go a long way into your final tones that you get in the recording process. So I am going to, let's see, I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. See if I can't move this over. There we go. That's good. I can see the comments, and there are 3 people watching. And so what I want you guys to do in these first few minutes here is go ahead and tell me your name, where you're from, and do you do any recording at all? And if you do, then feel free to go ahead and ask some questions here in the chat, and we will be sure to answer those for you. So I do have a Rode NTG4 shotgun mic over my head, and I got my phone with the Epoch Cam app looking over the gig board, and I have the Canon M50 as my main camera here. So as you see on the screen, I kind of have it organized. We can see the gig board screen, you can see me, and you can also see Mixbus. So as I start building rigs, I'm going to go ahead and lay down some tracks and see what kind of song we can come up with tonight. So as a blank rig, you're not going to get a great, guitar sound. It's going to sound very clean, very jazzy, but which is not too bad. There's just not a lot of tone to it. So the first thing you got to do before you record anything is you got to make sure you tune. And the tuner, as of the last update, one of the last updates, was drastically improved. And not that the other tuner wasn't good, but it's just, this one just keeps getting a little bit better as they come out with more updates. So now I have some rigs on the MX5 that I made for recording as well. And I made those while I was at work working on a video for the Harrison YouTube channel. But I'm just gonna start from scratch tonight and go ahead and start building some rigs. So I'm gonna put on the bridge pickup, and most of the time I know ahead of time I'm gonna have certain pedals in front of the amp and certain pedals after the amp, or certain effects. So I just go ahead and click the first block on the second row, and that allows me to go in and add an amp and a cab without having to move things around too much. Because if you click on the first block and go ahead and add a cab, you have to start moving it around, and that's just that's too much hassle. So if you already know where you want to start, then just go ahead and start there and be done. So this is what the amp sounds like stock. No changes at all. Just literally pulled it into the rig, and here we go. Okay. The bridge pickup on the Gil Paris is, to me, it's a little bright. I can roll this down, kind of darken it up a bit. Okay, that works for me. The stock cab that comes with the Lux, which is a Fender Deluxe Reverb, is the black panel Lux, and looks like they defaulted to the Dyne 421. Here lately, I've been kind of going back and forth between different microphones, but the Condenser 87, which is a U87 from Neumann, I don't know. Not the Seinfeld character, but Neumann. It's German, so. To me, that 87 just sounds really nice. The SM57, a little less lows, a little more pronounced mid-range. The 409, which is a Sennheiser mic. That's definitely going to have the most mid-range honk to it. But for the clean sound here, I'm just going to go ahead and put a 87 on it. You can hear that extended low end. Usually condenser mics are really good at picking up a wide frequency range. So you are going to get more lows, a little bit more highs than you would your normal dynamic microphone. And we also have the mic off axis, which is also, this would be on axis. Turning it off axis is like 45-degree angle to the speaker cone. Whether you put that right on the cap or you kind of, let's just pretend, this CD case is a speaker. So this would be the cap right in the middle. I don't have a microphone here. I use this as the microphone. So if you point it straight at it, right, that's on axis. If you take the mic and kind of do a 45-degree angle, that's going to be off axis to the speaker, and you're going to pick up more low end doing that way. So I hope you can hear the difference. Here's on axis and off. So it is going to yield a smoother top end as far as the treble frequencies go. And that sounds really good. So this amp also has vibrato on it, which sounds nice. And I'm going to go ahead and slow that down just a little bit. Most of the time I don't like the vibrato to be too slow, because then you start getting that seasickness kind of feeling. I like a good fast pulse. Maybe bring down the intensity just a little bit. And so far that sounds really good. So I am not going to change a whole lot here. I'm going to hold down the first switch and put it in stomp mode. And that's going to allow me to go, well, I'll do that after I add some more elements. Let's go to the last block, and we're going to add in a nice reverb. And normally Fender Deluxe reverbs have a spring reverb to them. So I'll go ahead and pick a spring reverb. We'll do a MN large, which I'm not sure what that means. And that sounds good already. We have a fairly long decay, and the tone is all the way up. So let's bring the tone down, which is something you can't necessarily do on a real amp. You know, change the tone. But we'll bring down the mix of this as well. All right, cool. All right. This is really, really clean. Some guitar players in the likes of Tim Pierce, Pete Thorne, you know, a bunch of studio YouTuber guys, they like just to have a little bit of hair on their amp. So I'm going to go ahead and crank this up to about 70. Which if you can imagine, you know, 10% being 1, 20 being 2, 30 being 3, and so forth. 60 to 70% is going to be like that 7, like the 6 to 7 volume range on the amp. So you're starting to cook the amp a little bit once you get up to this volume area here. But it does make for a nice full sound. So if you're into like country or surf rock or just any kind of clean, jazzy kind of, you know. Yeah, this can sound really good. I gotta move this headphone out of the way. So it seems like I'm going kind of slow, which I am, but I'm just being very thorough here. So if there's any new people out there that are new to the head rush and just don't know what this thing is about, I'm basically showing you the nuts and bolts, the ins and outs of how to build a rig and how to check for a few different things as far as gain staging. So one of the things you do need to check is the output. All right, so as you can see, I'm hitting the strings pretty hard, but I'm still staying in that green bar area. If I take my volume here and start bringing it up, let's say about 3 dB. Okay, at this volume, the amp is really compressing because I'm really smacking those strings, and I'm not getting any louder than those the little the green bars below 0 there. All right, so I feel like I can stand to get a little bit louder on this volume. So essentially you want to get as loud as you can without going into the yellow, because once you get into the yellow, then you run the risk of getting into the red, and there's not really digital clipping in these head rush units, or really any modeler. So this is an output, because you can still turn down the master volume with the big knob. And that does control your overall volume or your signal going to the next gain stage, which could be, like for me, it's a Focusrite 18i8, which is my current recording interface. Or you could be going to a PA or soundboard, a mixing console, whatever it is. So the louder you have the output on your head rush, the less volume you might need on the next stage, which is your mic pre, like I said, on a mixing board or an audio interface. Check. Like for instance, I'm seeing that my voice is getting to the red a little bit. I'm going to turn that down just a smidge. Okay. So I'm pretty happy with that. So what I just did was I found the tone I liked first, and then I just raised the volume. Think of like the output stage. It's just like a master fader or a volume fader like you see on a mixing console. It's just either up or down, right? It doesn't change the tone. It doesn't change anything else about the sound. It's just the volume is either up or it's down, okay? Let's go ahead and check the comments here. We got Francis in the house. Aaron Short Music says, bruh. Bruh. And this guy, I don't know what his first name is, but he's from Seattle and he's doing some recording with the Headrush pedal board as a hobby, having issues with latency via Headrush USB connection. Hello, Newman. So I have done a video showing how to record with the Headrush, but honestly, I don't prefer that method. If you have an audio interface, even a cheap one, I recently got an Evo 8 from Audient, the company Audient. It has 4 mic line inputs, and it has a guitar DI in the front. It has 2 headphone jacks and 2 sets of main outputs, and it was only $200. So if you don't have an audio interface, I highly suggest you get one, because we are talking about recording tonight, not just about the Headrush, but just recording in general. And interfaces are so useful because you can't plug a microphone into a Headrush and sing into it. It's just not going to work. The Headrush does not have a mic preamp or a mic input anywhere on there. Now a Helix does. I think Helix actually has 2 mic inputs. Possibly. Is it 4? No, it's 2. I can't remember. The Headrush Looper board has 4 mic line inputs. I think you can use that technically as an interface, but the Headrush Looper board, it gets up into like the $700 to $800 range. So if you're looking for a cheap or relatively inexpensive audio interface, I definitely suggest the Evo 8 from Audient. Any of the Focusrite stuff, especially the 2nd generation, 3rd generation interfaces, they have really good mic pre's, really clean signal. The Focusrite control software makes it really easy to do live streams, just like I'm doing now. And they do that because they have a loopback channel that is its own little mixer apart from the main outs and your headphones and all that different stuff. So, yeah, I really suggest just getting an audio interface and not worrying about trying to use the Headrush as your recording interface going into a computer. I know it's they say they do that because they want it to be really easy to record. Hey, all you need is a computer and your Headrush and you're good to go. But as far as latency goes, that is changed within your DAW. So I would go into your audio MIDI setup settings, whatever that's called, and go ahead and change that. For Mixbus, you can go into preferences, and you're not going to see this because it's not capturing the whole screen. But there is a spot. No, it's not preferences. Sorry. It's actually just window, audio MIDI setup, and you can change the buffer size right there. I currently have mine set to 1024, but I'm recording into another interface, which is the Focusrite. So therefore, I don't need a really small buffer size to, not deal with latency at all. I can stand to keep it a little bit higher because I am using the Headrush as an external device going into the interface. So I hope that makes sense about why you would possibly want to get an audio interface if you don't already have one. Not just for recording with the Headrush, but like I said, you need to be able to record vocals, possibly acoustic guitar, at least have one with 4 mic line inputs. Like the Evo 8 is great. The Focusrite, the 18i8 has 4 XLR inputs and also 4 line inputs on the back. So it's really a total of 8 inputs on this Focusrite. And the new Evo 16 from Audient is only $500. And it's a pretty powerful unit. I almost bought one. But I have something else coming tomorrow that I'm going to do a video on. That's going to be great. And I got some stuff coming from Sweetwater as well, which is going to be making for some cool videos. So, all right, enough talking about the reason why you need an interface. Okay, let's get back to our Headrush recording here. All right, so that sounds good. I feel like the bass is a little too prominent, so I'm going to turn that down. Okay, I'm not going to mess with the treble at all on that. Let's go ahead and save this, and we're going to name it Rec DLX HTS. So recording deluxe Headrush tone sculpting. Okay, and that's what the files will be called when you download them from the website. Either probably sometime tomorrow. I'm not going to load these up tonight because it's already getting late. But Eric says hi, Doctor McFarland. I think you said hi to me on Facebook earlier today, so that's cool. So for fun, let's go ahead and make a new track, audio track. We're going to call this EG1. And I read an interview, I watched a YouTube video of Chris Lord Alge talking about his workflow on mixing desks and also how he names his tracks in Pro Tools. And he tries to name all his tracks with at least 4 characters or less. So for electric guitar, for me is EG, so EG for electric guitar. And you can, if you have multiple electric tracks, then you can just do EG1, EG2, EG3, something like that. So that way it just makes it really easy to quickly look at your session and know exactly what the names of the tracks are without being too wordy, if that makes any sense. And also if you're using a controller like a UF8 from SSL, or maybe a icon device like the QCon Pro X or the G2, anything like that that has that LED screen, the shorter the names, the easier they show up on the little scribble strips, and you can just tell what each track is over the fader, without the name being too long. So I just talked for a long time. I need this input set to 3. You guys are hearing things in stereo, but I'm just going to record a mono track here. And I'm not quite sure what I want to do yet. I'm going to bring in some clips. New with version 8, which came out back in March, is the addition of clip launching or Ableton style workflow. So Mixbus now comes with a lot of bundled content, which is really cool. And I'm just going to do some, let's do a country beat, whatever that means. Shuffle. Okay, so I'm just going to drag it in here, and my snap is set, so that's good. I'm going to do Control D. I'm going to duplicate this out just for a little bit, and let's do 2 measures of pre-roll, which is Shift greater than symbol on the keyboard, and I'm going to start recording. So let's just, hopefully I can come up with something cool. 3, 4. Okay, so I went with a 12-bar blues kind of thing, which is fine. I'll edit the end of that there. And so we got that. Okay, so there's track 1. Now there's really 3 different levels of guitar tone that every song has, right? We have the clean, the squeaky clean stuff. We have the edge of breakup types tones, and then we have our lead tone. Aaron Short knows this very well. That's the main kind of rigs he just requires out of his wedding and bar gigs whenever he's singing. So and I do like that philosophy and that frame of mind of categorizing guitar tones in those 3 different categories: clean, edge of breakup, and lead or crunch or lead, something like that. Okay, and really edge of breakup can also be in the crunch category, because there's a very fine line between clean tones and edge of breakup. And do you really have a clean tone, or is it just edge of breakup is your starting point? You just go up from there. So every player is different. For me, I'm fine with having some squeaky clean stuff if it calls for it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the vibrato for now. All right, now the second thing we can do is we can go ahead and add an overdrive. Instead of cranking up the amp, which we can totally do, and that's fine, I'm going to add a tube screamer here. And the drive is down, the level's all the way up, and the tone's at 50%. Now I did make this, I saved this as a preset called default. So it pretty much always starts off with that setting. And this is what we get. All right, so already we have our clean sound. Then we have our tube screamer dirty sound. Okay, now that might be too much over the edge of breakup, so you could bring down the volume a little bit so it doesn't push the front end of the amp as hard. We could also darken it up by bringing the tone down. So one thing you want to keep in mind when you start adding pedals is the gain staging aspect. So some people like just a slight boost in volume when they kick on their tube screamer or any kind of overdrive pedal or distortion pedal. That is a valid way of doing things. You can also go the route of both volumes being matched. Your bypass clean tone versus the first gain stage, which is your first pedal. So maybe your first pedal needs to be the same volume as your clean, and then the second overdrive pedal can go up in volume just slightly. Okay, so for example, here's my clean again. And then here's the tube screamer on. So I didn't really go up in volume at all. But I like the Anxiety Overdrive. It's a good overall pedal, but I feel like the level is not calibrated correctly because most of the time I have to turn the level down to like 6 to 10% just to make it not so hot. So see, to me that's really hot right there. Now that I've added a few pedals in here, I don't need the amp in the cab on one of the switches. So I'm going to switch this out and unassign that. Okay. Okay, so this can go up a little bit. The tone knob on the OCD pretty much acts like a low pass filter, so fully clockwise or fully to the right or 100% is the brightest sound it can get. And as you start rolling it back, it's going to get darker. So if you want a nice bright sound from your OCD pedal or Anxiety Overdrive, as Headrush calls it, you want the tone all the way up. Alright, so for our Fendery clean tube screamer, crunch tone, those are two good pedals to add in there. Excuse me, I should have got some water because I'm talking a lot here. All right, so with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this track just so I know all the, excuse me, the input stays the same. I'm going to change the name of this to EG2, and we'll put it there. And now I'm going to do like a little double stop kind of thing over this track. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I didn't like that at all. I couldn't hear. Excuse me. A lot of talking. Let me go back to my output settings and make sure. Yeah, that volume was down, which is why I couldn't hear it. So this has the Focusrite control has a separate mix for your mains, your headphone 1, headphone 2, SPDIF outputs, and also your loopback. So I had to turn up the playback volume on my headphone there so I could actually hear what was going on. Let's try it again. Okay, something like that. Francis, he says fire. I don't know about all that. I'm a hack at best. I kind of forgot what the chord progression was. I don't really like this chord progression. I'm going to start over. I don't even like the drums. I'm not feeling the shuffle thing tonight. But I do like the punk. I know for a fact that start with that. That should be a little bit better. Give me something I can rock out to. How about that? So that's 8 bars. All right, let's just shoot it for 8 bars and see what we can do. All right, so we're gonna build this thing up here. Here we go. Back to EG1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, rock and roll. Okay, so that's a clean, punky kind of sound. Not too fond of the long decay on that spring reverb. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. All right, so that's clean on one side, and now we're going to do a tube screamer type sound on the other side. Then we'll pan them left and right so you can get the stereo spread. So let's do the same thing again if I can remember what I'm doing. And here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. Yeah, I can't remember. I have the worst memory ever of what I even just played. All right, here we go. 1, recording real time. All right. So for your listening pleasure, I'm going to pan this one left and this one right. And you're going to hear a clean on one side and a slightly dirty on the other. So check this out. So it's definitely punk rock. It's definitely more of the Ramones. They never got like super heavy. You know, like most punk, you know, they can be on the cleaner side. I guess it depends on what band you're listening to, but you know, it doesn't have to be like full thrash metal to be like, you know, a good rock punk tone. Okay. Burn up. I'm going to do that one. That's going to be my my dirty sound. So I'm going to duplicate this. New playlist is going to be after selection. Thank you very much. And we're going to go EG3. And this one's going to be right down the middle. And I'm in the key of A, so I'm doing like the little boom. Alright, let's try that. Let's try it. Let's add a little bit more dirt to the anxiety here. Okay, works for me. Let's darken the tone a little bit. So when you're recording, I know it's kind of hard if you're starting out to really know the kind of tones that the song needs. But usually you want some good contrasting tones. You don't want everything. I'm gonna make this slightly dirtier. But I'm only going to play like 2 strings. The top 2 strings here. This pick is weird. Let me use a different pick. Alright, here we go. Let's turn auto return on. And yeah, that works for me. Here we go. Metronome on. 1, 2, ready. No idea. No idea what I'm doing here. Let's check that out. Nah, it's like a slinky. I don't like that one. So this is another thing about recording. Is just because you can record a part doesn't mean you should. You really want to try hard to only record things that complement the song, especially if you have lyrics and a singer. You don't want to play over what the singer's doing, because then you're kind of stepping on his or her toes. But in this case, I'm not singing anything, so I'm just gonna play. But I'm gonna do something a little different here. So let's try that. See what that does. Pre-roll. 3, 4. Yeah, we did it. All right, that's not too bad. Let's check that out. Alrighty then. Not too bad. Not too bad, actually. I'm okay with that. Now, I have a decision to make. I can make a whole new rig, or I can add another head in this rig, and then I can show you how to switch between those two using scenes. It's really not. It's not. Nah, that's not necessary. Let's just go save new rig. This is going to be. What did I name the other one? Let's do something more rock. So let's do JCM. I know what I did. It was REC for rec recording. JCM HTS. Okay, that makes more sense. We'll go in here. We'll change the amp. We have the lead 800 stuff, but I like using. Where is it? Where is it? Okay, it's the lead 800 bass mod, bright TS mod. Now the lead 800 100 watt, that's a totally different amp than what the JCM 800 is. But I do like the bass mod. It has a nice it has some good girth to it. So okay, let's check out the mic they have. So the 67. Now this is, you don't have to follow this rule, but for cleaner tones, I do like the condenser mics. But for the distorted tone, I either go with a 57 or you can go with the ribbon mic. And this is a 25 watt greenback, which is going to have more mid range versus a vintage 30 cab, which is a little more neutral in the mids, especially compared to a greenback. So we'll just go with this for now, and let's see. I'm gonna keep adding some layers here, and this is going to be EG4. We'll hit record, and let's go ahead and mute these first two tracks. And so that's going to be our cleanish kind of sound. Now we're going to do more of a rock kind of thing, but we're going to do the exact same riff. Okay, then at the end we'll be able to switch between the different takes. You can hear all the different types of tones you can have on there. RK Brown's in the house. Just scrolling my feed on the phone, and I saw you, and now I'll have enough visually impaired. Yeah. How's it going, RK? I'm here rocking out with the Head Rush. And talking about a little bit of recording tonight using Harrison Mixbus 32C, but you can use any DAW for this: Reaper, Studio One, Logic, Pro Tools, Cubase, Nuendo, whatever you have. It doesn't matter how you capture the sound, because every DAW can do that. So let's try this out. We're gonna make sure my metronome on, and here we go. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's the JCM kind of thing. And now what's interesting is we can now, let's pan the lead part a little to the left and the rhythm part a little to the right, so you can hear that contrast. Okay. I like that. That's a good sound. So, really, I mean, it's good to have a Fender option when you're recording. It's good to have a Marshall option because it does have a different tone stack and the way the layers add up over each other. Marshall just has a slightly different mid-range. And so, for instance, I'll play you... let's turn off that lead sound there. And let's pan this one to the left. So now this is a Fender with a tube screamer in front. And we have a Marshall amp turned on. No pedals in front. So this is what this sounds like. Okay, and back with the lead sound in there. Yeah, so there he goes. RK Brown's talking about the band he plays with and that they are Headrush users. So it definitely makes it easy to set up rigs, whether you're playing in the studio or playing out live. Very quick and easy setup and breakdown at the end of a gig or just during a gig in general. And I like this one. The Tube Screamer is going to make it sound more compressed. We can bring the tone back up. Okay, let's duplicate this again. Now at this point, there's a lot of EGs going on, and it's getting harder to distinguish which one I've done. So at this point, it might be good to maybe rename your tracks of what the type of tones they actually are. I mean, it really doesn't matter. But when you're doing this comparison type thing, it could be a little easier to remember which one's which. So. Alright, this one I'm actually going to do a different voicing. Instead of doing the low octave on the power chords, I'm going to do the middle two strings, which is the next octave up. That should help, along with the different tone, that should help distinguish the different parts as well. Okay, so metronome on and 2 measures of pre-roll. 1, 2, ready, go. Okay. Let's go ahead and mute the first two. So these last two are the, I'll pan this one left because EG4 is panned right. And I'll go ahead and pan these hard left and right. And let's not play the main melody just yet, or the guitar lead. Let's just listen to what the rhythm tracks are doing. Hello. Oh, I'll press enter. Okay, so that's a good philosophy to think about as well. If you have two guitar players in a band, you don't want both players to be in the same frequency range. Not really frequency range, the same voicing range as the other player. So if one person is playing a regular G chord, right, the other person might want to play a G chord in the D shape up here on the 7th and 8th fret. Right, and what that does is it distinguishes both parts as well as the different tones, and they stack really, really nice. So I really like the sound of this clean part here. I'm going to put that one in the middle, and this one's hard left, and we'll go back to the Fender with the Tube Screamer sound. And now we're going to hear what these three sound like together. Fender on the left, Marshall with no Tube Screamer on the right, and then Marshall with Tube Screamer down the middle, but the same chords are played an octave higher. So this is what this sounds like. All right, cool. I feel pretty good about that one. Let's go on. Let's do some metal type stuff. Not that kind of metal. Let's go like Halftime. All right. So for this one, we're going to do like a halftime sludgy type thing. And let's go ahead and hear. I'm going to pull the volume knob on this guitar, which gives it a little bit of boost in the mid-range and in volume. I'm going to turn off the spring reverb. Alright, let's see what that does. I'm going to go back to electric guitar 1, and let's record on this track here and see what happens. I'm not even sure what I'm playing yet. Nope, that's not going to work. I got to write something real fast. So let's Let's do that kind of thing. That'll work. I don't like that either. This is the part of the video where I just kind of noodle and figure out stuff. All right, let's try that. Let's try that. And if you have any suggestions, let me know. But in the meantime, I'm going to start with this JCM 800. Then I'm going to move on to a Mesa Boogie, and then a Saldano and a Bogner. And that should be plenty of recording options there. So here we go. Let's try this out. Okay, that works for that. So we're going to save that rig. We're going to do new rig, record, Mesa, HTS. And I'm going to change the amp to, there's a few different options here. I like the tread plate stuff, but the M2 lead and the lead cap mod are both good as well. Let's do the M2. That's really a dark sound. And let's do a 57 on this off axis. Okay, that is fairly bright in my headphones right now, but once it gets in the mix, it might just be perfect. So don't always judge the sound on in isolation. Make sure it fits the overall recording, the overall mix. Okay, that's the best way to do it. I really want to either get a headshot box GS100. Hey, Dowian, thanks for checking in. And I've never tried the Boss GX100. I'm sure it's great. The Headrush, I've used it for about 4 years now. I love the touchscreen. I love how easy it is to get great sounds for the studio or the stage. And wow, it's just really good. So let's try this sound out. I'm not going to play this exactly the same as the last one because I just can't remember what I played. So 1, 2, ready, go. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and loop this here. Sorry. I'm going to loop it to there. Make my loop points. Okay, both of these guitars are panned the same, which is why you're not hearing that spread. Dorian, if you're in the US, I do have Amazon and Sweetwater affiliate links down below. With all the options you can shop around for different stuff. So if you want to support the channel in that way, if you were going to buy one through Sweetwater anyways, be sure to use my link and I would greatly appreciate that. But otherwise, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out on my website or anywhere on social media, and I'll be happy to help you out in any way I can, okay? So let's check out this song, or this little riff. So that right there is it's a very good lesson on if you're going to double a part, make sure you play it pretty much exactly how you did before. There will always be a little bit of nuance when you double anything, whether you're singing a line, doubling a singing part, or trying to double like a rhythm part or a lead part. You're never going to pluck the string exactly the way you did the first time, which is why doubling tracks makes it sound really full. In this instance, I didn't do a good job at playing or even remembering what I played anyway. So let's do this. I'm going to make this a little bit better. I'm going to go ahead and record the mezza part and make sure I remember what I played, and then go back to the JCM 800 and re-record that first part again. So let's try this one out. I'm going to remember what I did here. Sorry, my volume was down. Let's try that again. Alright, so I accented the first beat, but then I just did simple palm muting the rest of the way there. So now this tone is definitely not as bright, so it's going to pair nicely with the brighter Mezza Boogie sound. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now with that, let's loop it. Alright, so you got a slightly mid-rangey, darker sound with the JCM 800 on the left, and then you got the brighter Mezza Boogie on the right. So I think they pair really well together in that regard. Let's go to the mezza here and the save. So what I'm doing, I'm keeping the Tube Screamer and the Anxiety Overdrive and the reverb in the rig, but all I'm doing is I'm basically doing a saving as a new preset. So when I make the new one, all I have to do is just go in and change the amp, and that automatically switches out the cab as well. So save new rig, rec. This is going to be a Soldano, so a slow HTS. And now the Tube Screamer, the Anxiety, and the reverb is still in there. And I can simply go to model, go down to my SL100 section, and I've recently realized that the drive amp, I think is just as good as the extended range, but sometimes I don't want all that extended range in there. So just the drive channel itself is really all I need. This cab is a 65 watt cab. It does have the condenser 87 on there off axis. So let's see what that sounds like here. Uh, 409. Okay, we'll go with the 409 on this one. We will bring down the bass a little bit. This one has a mod. I don't know what that is. So what I'm listening for on this one is nothing too bright, just a good raw distorted tone. Let's overdub on EG4 on this one. And let's compare that with the JCM 800 on the top. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Okay, not too bad. That one is panned left, so that one's panned hard right, and here we go. Okay, pretty good. This one, you can get a good lead sound out of this. Let's do one more. This is going to be Rec Bog HTS, if I can spell. Okay, and this one is going to be, now the Bogner has a red, blue, and a green. The green is the, the blue is the clean, the green is the medium gain channel, and then the red is the high gain channel. Let's go ahead and do red on this one. Alright, this has a 2x12 cab on by default, which is fine. Let's check out the 87. Alright, I'm good with all that. Let's see what the Tube Screamer sounds like. Alright, I'm fine with that off for now. On the last track here, this is going to be the Bogner. So we have Marshall, Meza, Saldano, and Bogner. For that, let's see how this pairs with the Saldano, and that one's panned hard right, so I'll pan this one left. And here we go. 4, 1, 2, 3. Alright, and we'll go ahead and read some comments. Doian says, this is way off topic. Do you know any good pitch correction systems for vocals that are really good but not part of a computer program? A pedal for vocals that has really good auto tune. They do make rack units for pitch correction. I am not familiar with a rack version. Right now, I'd have to Google it. But I would just Google auto-tune like live rig or auto-tune rack system or something. And you should find some options doing that. I know people have used them over the years for all kinds of singers live. I'm not going to name any names because I'm not too sure, but I know singers, professional singers have used pitch correction live before, and it can be okay if you have a good in-ear system and a good in-ear mixer. person mixing your in-ears. So so you can sing on pitch, but it doesn't throw you off in any way if you go out of the realm of what the scale calls for. So yeah, that's a good question though. I know they're out there. I just don't I don't keep track of all that stuff. So we're gonna listen to the Saldano and the Bogner. All right, that sounds good. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this track because I'm kind of hearing some dual lead type stuff on here. So let me write a part real fast over this. Then I'll do a harmony of that. We're in the key of E, so. Let's see what that does, if anything. Okay, there's that. And then we'll do, we'll call this one E-G Harm for harmony. And we'll go back to our Bogner sound. And I haven't recorded with any effects yet. I could have some reverb or some delay or something. But that's also if you're recording into a DAW. Some people like to do that after the fact. They like to add it in post instead of printing it to the track. So, you know, it is what it is. So what I did was... So I'm going to go... Alright, let's try that. This is going to be cool. 4, 1, 2, ready. Yeah, it's like freaking scorpions or something, man. So cool. So cool. Alright. I actually like that. And we're going to go to our mixer page. And I'm going to extend out these buses. So what's cool about Harrison Mix Bus is it gives you a full-fledged mixing console right here on your screen. With EQ, sends, and compression on every track. And then we also have 12 buses. Heads, toms, hi-hats, stuff like that. Then Mix Bus 4 is bass. Mix Bus 5 is guitars, like all the guitars in the session. Mix Bus 6 is all the keys / strings in the session. Or it could also be horns or whatever. The Mix Bus 7 is background vocals if we have any. And then Mix Bus 8 is lead vocal if we have it. And then Mix Bus 9 through 12 is my effects buses. So I'm going to save this and call it recording head rush. And it's thinking. And I'm going to add a Harrison G-verb to this. And we'll make this a room. So that's going to be our ambient sound. And then Mix Bus 11, actually Mix Bus 10, that's going to be our delay. And this has a really good triple delay. And of course you're not seeing that because it's only capturing the actual, the initial screen of Mix Bus, but not any pop-ups that are overlaid on top. So right now I'm seeing the XT 3D triple delay I'm going to put a rock echo on this. So going back to my mixer page, EG3 is going to be firstly sent to mix bus 5. And it's also going to be sent to mix bus 10. I'm going to go ahead and turn down the sand on that, because I know I don't want tons of delay, but just enough delay. So there, it's that easy. You don't have to right click on any menus and do, you know, add buses and stuff like that. It's already, buses are already built into the DAW. So you can see how quick and easy that was to do that. So let me solo these up. You can hear what these sound like. Okay, and since I have those guitars going to bus 5, I'm going to use the matrix mix here on the screen and choose mix bus 12 and go ahead and lower that sand that's going to the G verb. So let's listen to it now with the drums and everything. And I'll add some bass here in a second. Let's raise the volume on this just a tad. Turn off the metronome. All right, let's try it now. Okay, and no rock song is complete without some kind of bass. Some kind of bass guitar on there. So I'm going to grab my trusty Xavier, which is a guitar fetish instrument. And I bought it a few years ago, and it's been a good bass. So Headrush already comes with a set list full of bass tones. So I don't get too picky with my bass sounds. It's like this a little hot. Look at my output. Okay, so the rig output of this was pretty hot, so I'm going to turn that down. See how it's still in the yellow? I'm going to turn it down to this, not in the yellow. And if you're listening to the live stream, you would have noticed that that bass tone was super hot coming out of the gate, and it was peaking in the red on the OBS software here. So sorry about that if it was too loud. But we're going to go ahead and add another track, and this is going to be called Bass. And set the input to 3, which is what all the other tracks were set to. Okay, so now we're just using a stock bass rig that comes with your headrush. So nothing special. I don't overthink bass tones at all. I know some bass players always request like, hey, can you give us more bass amps, more bass pedals? I'm like, dude, it's a bass. I mean, I don't know how unique it really needs to sound, but that's just me. That's just my guitar player self speaking. I just don't care about like every bass sound having to be different. I just don't think it matters. Now, I mean, some basses have more attack than others. You can have like a very mellow sounding bass, but I mean, the bass amp that comes with it is the Blue Line bass, which is the SVT head, and should be good enough for most bass players. Sorry, all you bass players out there that don't agree, but it's just the way it is. Here we go. 1, 2, ready. Okay. There we go. We'll go ahead and loop it. There's my bass tone. I can EQ this to be a little brighter. I can raise up some 2K. I can add in some mid-range, maybe like around 7 or 8K, 700 or 800 frequencies. I'm going to high pass filter around 30 hertz, so it's not like too rumbly down there. Let's go with 50. Because this is another thing when you're recording. You have the kick drum, which is a low-end instrument. Then you have the bass, which is a low-end instrument. And you always read articles and watch YouTube videos on engineers and producers talking about the struggles of getting your kick and your bass to like marry, like really gel together. So yeah, make sure you're shaping your sounds going in to where they all layer really well and they don't step on each other's toes in the mix. So let's loop it. That's good for the initial guitar. I'm going to grab my Sensei, which is a humbucker style, and I'm going to do a shred-tastic. Let's see, type lead thing on this. Let's go back to our Mezza. I'm going to add a little delay to this. Let's do tape echo, basic. Cool. All right, that sounds good to me. And what I need to do here is just go ahead and move these two tracks up to the top. And then I can double all these here. I need to cut all that so it's nice and clean. And I'm going to highlight all these regions and just duplicate. Just go out a little ways, because I might want to really shred it up here. So duplicate, new playlist, after selection, yes. This is going to be EG solo. Dorian says I'm the same way, but I don't remember what I was talking about when you commented like that. So, all right, so we're gonna have 2 bars of, actually 4 bars of the main lead part come in. I'm just gonna solo after that. So here we go. Here we go. I slayed it. So good. Let's listen back. Oh, whoops. I stopped it somehow. Let's play it from here. All right, I'm going to continue on here, soloing. I'm actually going to let's change my sound a little bit. Let's go to the Bogner, add in a different delay. We'll do the pitch delay is really cool. Rising, but we're not going to have it rise. We're just going to have it be 0, but we can detune it just slightly. Tails on, high cut. Okay. You usually don't want the mix of the delay and reverb to be really higher than 30-35%. Any more than that, your dry signal just starts getting drowned out, and it doesn't cut as well. Let's duplicate this. There we go. So that way this can kind of hang over and I can continue to record underneath it. So here we go. Cool. I got a lot left to do. So let's do another one. This is going to be the Saldano. I mean, I don't have to have delay on every single time, but why not, right? Echo long. Let's turn down the mix. Turn down the feedback. Okay, that should work pretty good for that. And we're going to do another duplicate. And we're just going to keep adding solos under here. Oh, that was a bad idea. I'm not a big tapper person. Let's do something melodic. Wasn't the greatest. Wasn't the greatest. Let's clean up some of these fronts here. And we'll do one more solo. So the kind of the point of this exercise is each solo is the tone's gonna be totally different. Which is a good thing, I think. We'll go back to our JCM. And I'll add a, let's do a dyne delay on this. Stereo. The only problem with that is the, this is not going to be stereo, which is fine. Yeah. So I'm just going to turn down the mix of this. That and see what I can come up with here. Yeah, nailed that one. Or something. I nailed something. Go in here and kind of clean up the fronts of these. And something like that. Bada bing, bada boom. Alright. Alright, now let's go ahead and listen. Okay, I see what we did. Let's go ahead and listen to all these solos here. And just listen for the different tones. Here we go. Looks like we're back up, successfully connected. Hopefully it didn't start a whole new stream. I'm sure it's fine though. So if you have any questions about that, go ahead and leave them in the chat. I'll hang out for a few more minutes here while we wrap things up. But I hope that was helpful, just walking through my process of picking out different guitar tones and listening to how they stack on top of each other and really complement each other in a mix. I know this song was, was very, very basic. Just has a simple drum beat, bass, and a few rhythm parts. But I think that sounds good. Let's go back to the first two rhythms. And let's listen through this first solo here. All right, cool. I just noticed the when the music was playing, it was just way too much volume on the live stream. So I'm sorry if that was too loud for your listening pleasure. But any questions? Any questions at all about recording, the type of gear that you need for your studio, maybe for like a home setup kind of deal? Let me know. I will be hanging out just a little bit longer. Like I said, I do have a new mixer / interface coming in tomorrow. I did purchase this online. This is not a Sweetwater thing at all. But I am getting some stuff from Sweetwater to do reviews on here in the next week or so. So this should be really fun. And I have a desk over here that is about half complete. This is my new custom studio desk. It's going to have two 19-inch rack spaces on either side with plenty of pull-out drawers and trays. And I'll be able to store my headrush on one rack tray. And then I have another tray that's coming that's going to just have some pedals on it. It's going to have a HX stomp and some overdrives and a Boss MS3 switcher, so I can have some different options there in the Line 6 / Boss world of getting different tones. So, but as you can see and hear tonight, the headrush literally does everything I needed to do for any kind of live work, any kind of studio work. I can really get any sound that I want. And what I love about this setup is, I can get really clean. The beard is on point. Well, that's great. I'm glad something on my head is on point, because this all back here, this is not so much on point. This is actually less on point than I want it to be. But So as you can hear right there, I meant to switch guitars a long time ago, but as you can hear, that clean sound was pretty clean with the Strat. But now that I switched over to humbuckers, it's a little dirtier. So when you download these rigs, if you feel like they're too dirty, then just bring down the volume on the amp. If they're not dirty enough, then bring up the volume on the amp. You know, whatever you want to do. So if I want to get a nice clean tone with humbuckers, I probably need to stay in the 40% range. And then go back to my output. And maybe dial that up just a little bit. Jazz Funk says Mix Bus is the best DAW. It is quite good. I like it a lot. And you can see for my live stream tonight, it records and mixes and does everything I need to do just fine. And it's great. So now, with a clean tone, you can add in a compressor. Let's do the attacks. Now, the gray comp tends to be a little too much compression for my taste. I really wish this pedal had an extra mix knob, so you can really spank it and then just back off the wet dry mix. That would be awesome. See, the problem is the volume's already all the way up, and I don't have any way to compensate for the gain reduction of the compression. So, which is why I rarely use the gray comp. I like using the Dyne comp, and I like having the threshold all the way down, the attack about 20, the ratio about 1 to 4, 1.4 to 1. And the gain can be, you know, anywhere from like 4 to 5, somewhere in there. And if the volume is too low, you can just bring the gain up. So that way it compresses, but you have a little bit more control over how much compression you hear. Stuff like that. See, Dowin says, would you believe I still record on a Boss BR1600? I assume that's some kind of hard disk recorder, maybe. I'm not familiar with that one. 1999. Maybe it's a cassette tape. I'm not sure. A new distortion pedal. I go back to the DS1, so I was but a friend gave me 700 orange from Boss. Yeah, the Headrush has a DS1, and it looks a little something like this. It's the D1 dist. We'll do a crunch sound, and let's see what what we got here. On a future live stream, I'll probably do a whole session on just overdrives, like the dirt sounds you can get with pedals versus the dirt sounds you can get from an amp, which primarily means you have a clean-ish amp and you hit the front end with pedals. So this is definitely an option, but... for instance, let's go ahead and record a solo with this, just so you can hear amps versus pedals. Amps versus pedals. Dun dun dun. We'll add a delay to this one. We'll do a let's do an echo light. All right, let's check it out. Alright, so we're going to have to bring the volume of this up a little bit. Let's listen to this solo and then flow into the DS1 solo and see how different they sound. So to me, that sounds a little thinner overall. Bedallion was asking about the shimmer sound. So yes, this is just a shimmer. And there's different options in here. We got 1 octave up. You can change the tone. Haven't messed with this in a while. Let's see. Reverb time, high cut. I usually like to have the mix pretty low. There are different presets. And sometimes I like to have a slightly longer reverb. Let's bring down the mix of this really low. So that pre-delay is what's giving it the after effect. I'm assuming that you're going DI with the headrush into an X32, but the dirty tones never cut through. Mids are scooped, and I can't ever capture that grungy sound without boosting dB, but I'll lose the tone quality. That is interesting. I feel pretty confident that all the sounds that I dialed in tonight would cut through pretty well. I'm usually listening with in-ears on stage. I just play at church nowadays. I don't play in live venues in a rock band anymore. So my standards or my requirements for listening is probably way different than what you have. But everything sounds pretty good to me. So I guess it depends on if you're actually listening back to the live mix, like after the fact, maybe on a video, and maybe you feel like you don't cut through enough after watching your band play live. But it could be just fine. I'm not sure exactly what your situation is, but for live gigs, I always use an amp. Okay? No, I don't lead. I don't sing. I just play guitar. Sometimes I play drums. Sometimes I play acoustic. Sometimes I play electric. I kind of bounce around. I am the AV coordinator at my church, so I'm supposed to be behind the mixing board the bulk of the time, but there's not enough players to play the rotate every Sunday, so it's really between me and another guy who also uses a headrush. So we are the headrush brothers. You do exactly what I do. Yep. There you go. So that right there, that's a really nice sound. That reverb there is the 11 verb, and I have it on Cathedral. You can bring the tone down, I guess, a little bit, maybe. Just for instance, Jordan, I have about 4 years worth of headrush videos on my YouTube channel, and I know I've covered, effects only rigs and all the different distortions and all the different dirt pedals that come in the headrush so far. So look back through my catalog of headrush videos, and I'm sure you'll stumble across a few that address some of the issues that you're having. But I do have a headrush tone sculpting course on my website as well that guides you through every amp, effect, cabinet, and microphone that's available on the headrush. And so if you want to support what I do and also gain some more knowledge about your setup, then that might be a good resource for for anybody out there that wants to take their knowledge of gear, especially guitar gear, to another level of education. So, guys, I feel pretty good about what we've made here. This is a cool option because you got a long delay with a long reverb with a delay. You got a spring reverb in there, and also a shimmer, which you can do different stuff with. And you got a few overdrives and a good clean amp. So really, this is a good all-around rig for stacking and for getting different tones. Cool. The anxiety overdrive, or the OCD from Fulltone, is supposed to be like an amp in the box kind of deal. Like it has a very amp-like response when you play, especially when you play through like the actual pedal. And I think Headrush did a good job on modeling that sound for our purposes here. So if you got a good, clean sound like that, I'm going to turn up the volume here. And then, so that can be your basic lead sound. Then you can kick it in another notch with the tube screamer. So that's 3 sounds in one rig that you got: clean, tube screamer, or you got anxiety, and then anxiety with tube screamer. So it's really 4 sounds, because you can stack them different ways. So I will be sure to get all this loaded sometime tomorrow, probably after work. And you guys go check out the HTS rigs on the website. As I said before, it is a one-time fee of $20, and it gets you all previous, current, and future rigs that I have made or will have made so far. And always reach out to me on Instagram and Facebook at Doctor McFarland. Dr. McFarland at Gmail is my email address, and you can also contact me directly using the messaging feature on my website. So thanks everyone for chiming in and hanging out with me. We had a good 7 or 8 viewers strong going, especially with it being so late. It's 12:30. Wow. So yeah, we went for a pretty long time here, but I had fun. And I hope you guys had fun as well. Thamaris is in the house. Long time no catch. Yeah. And Jordan says I have to go back and deep dive on those videos on how to navigate my headrest when I first got it. Cool. I'll do the AV part. That's all foreign to me. Okay. There's some new people on the stream I haven't seen before, like Jordan and Doian. I don't know how to say it. Jazz Funk. Thanks guys for chiming in and hanging in there with me. And I will see you guys in the next video. So y'all have a great night. Okay.